It's time that we started using the things that we have in our life that can help us to become the best version of yourself. Stop wasting your time scrolling through your phone 8 hours a day when instead you could be picking up a book and learning something new about how you can become stronger, wiser, and the dream person you have always wanted to be. Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you haven't watched my videos before, then hi, my name is Fleur. This is your space, all things self-development, where we focus on growth, mindset, and becoming the highest version of ourselves together. Today, I'm going to be discussing my top 8 self-development books that have changed the way that I think about myself and my outlook on life, and are hopefully going to be doing the same thing for you. I will be splitting this video into 4 sections to make it a little bit easier for you, where I will share 2 books that are my favorite for love and relationships, financial literacy, inner peace and happiness, and self-empowerment. So let's get straight into the video. Section number 1, love and relationships. First book that I'm going to be speaking about is called Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. A little summary about this book. It is a memoir all about love, friendships, and growing up. She shares her personal experiences while offering reflections on the importance of self-love and deep connections beyond romance. What this book taught me is that love isn't just about romance, it's also about the friendships that you have in your life and the connection that you have with yourself. This book was generally life-changing for me. I would admit it was a little bit of a slow read. At the very start of it, I wasn't sure if it was the kind of book that I was going to enjoy reading, but then I picked it up again, gave it another chance, and it generally changed the way that I think about love. I'm a lover girl to heart. I love everything about love. I love romance films, romance books, but I will say that I definitely do have a fantasy way of looking at love, and sometimes it's nice to be able to just read someone's experiences with romance and know that it's okay if you have these bad experiences with love, but that also there is so much more in our life that we don't notice. Like I've always said about Valentine's, it's not just a time to love your partner, but it's also a time to love your friends, your family, and yourself. And this is what this book teaches you. It teaches you that there is more to life than having a spouse. There is more to life than having a partner. You have these beautiful friendships in your life that are giving you all the love that you ever think that you would need. You just don't realize it because you're focusing on trying to get love from another source. When you do realize it though, and when you see that these friendships and the connection that you have with your family, but most importantly, the connection that you have with yourself, you will realize that you are already fulfilled just as you are. You have to be completely fulfilled before you go into a relationship with someone else. Otherwise, there's always going to be something that you are trying to seek within that person. And the more you try to seek for something in someone else, the less likely you are going to be able to find it, because it's something that you need to first seek within you. So if you really want to learn more about romance, but more specifically about platonic love in your life and the love that you can harbor for yourself, then I definitely recommend giving this a read. Number 2 is called Attached by Amir Levine and Rachel Heller. This book explores attachment theory and how it affects relationships in our life. It categorizes people into 3 different attachment styles. You have the secure attachment style, the insecure attachment style, and the avoidant attachment style, helping readers to understand their patterns in relationships and how they can then build healthier connections from this. Now, if you don't know anything about attachment styles, and then this is definitely the book that you need to read. For me, I studied psychology in A-level, so I already have a touch basis of all 3 of them, and so I sort of knew where I was on the spectrum. I've always known that in relationships, I tend to be the anxious person. It's all anxious thoughts and an anxious way of looking at love. And for somebody that has dealt with the consequences of having an anxious attachment, I wanted to be able to heal myself and grow, because that's what I'm all about, and that's what this channel is all about, and to learn how I could go from being an anxious person to a secure person, so that when I do one day go into a new relationship with someone, I have a secure and stable mindset and know that even if I don't have that relationship, and even if it does end up failing, I have myself, and that's something that I can fall back on. I'm already complete without that person needing to be in my life. Understanding your attachment styles will completely transform the way that you look at relationships. And there is a misconception that you might think that you are secure, that you might think that you have a healthy way of looking at life because you've never had these problems in your life occur, or you've never been given a circumstance or evidence for you to think otherwise. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't still read the book. Even if you have a secure attachment style and you know that you have a secure attachment style, it's really nice to be able to read this book because you might be in a relationship with someone that doesn't have have a secure attachment style, and it's just as important to learn your partner's attachment style as it is to learn your attachment style. If you are interested in learning what your attachment style is without actually needing to read the book, then you can always do a test online. There are so many free tests where you can find out what kind of attachment style that you have. And then once you've found it out, maybe reading this book will help you to understand how you can identify the weaknesses within this attachment style and go towards the attachment style that you want, which is to be secure. These two books generally changed my perception about love. And when I came out of my previous relationship, I was so terrified of going into a new relationship and coming across the same situations that I was in that relationship. And so what I decided was to just take a whole year to myself, to give back to myself and learn how I can grow and change as a person. And that did mean doing research about love and about anxious attachment and about all of these different attachment styles so I can completely understand myself and other people. The more that you understand yourself and the people around you, the easier it will be for you to find the right person for you, because you will know what it is that you don't want in a relationship. But most importantly, you will learn what it is that you do want in a relationship. And these are two things that you need to know before you go into a relationship. Section number 2 is all about financial literacy. Now, don't worry, I promise you, this is not scary. I am the kind of person that would have skipped past this section thinking, nope, I'm bad with money. I'm always going to be bad with money. I'm never going to be good with money. Financial literacy is too hard for me to understand, and I'm never going to be able to read books that are going to help me to understand it. The terms confuse me. Money confuses me. Investing confuses me. I'd rather just stay in my little corner and be naive and not know what I'm missing out on. If that's you, then I want you to just give me a chance over the next few minutes to change this mindset that you have, because these two books that I'm going to share with you will generally change the way that you view money. Number 1 is Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. This book was the first book that I ever read about financial literacy. I would say it talks more about the mindset that you should have about money and the rat race, which, if you don't know what the rat race is basically just following what everyone else is doing and finding that you're in a 9-to-5 and that you have this mortgage and that you haven't had the chance to invest because you bought a house before you did get to the investment, and that you're just going from one point to the next in a complete cycle without ever being able to get to this point where you can be financially stable or financially free. And this is a book that contrasts the mindsets of being rich and of being poor. So Robert grew up with a poor household. His dad had a poor way of thinking about money. However, his best friend's dad had a rich way about thinking about money and was on his path to success. Robert stresses the importance of financial literacy and making money work for you instead of working for money, which is what we call the rat race, relying on a paycheck. What I learned from this book is that wealth is built through financial education and smart investing, and not just the hard work that you put into your day-to-day life and that 9-to-5 that we're taught we have to follow and do as we grow up into being an adult. Financial literacy can be scary, but I promise you that when you read a book about it, or when you teach yourself about investing or about money, you will realize that all this time you have been scaring yourself over something that is actually quite simple. Society wants us to be scared of money. If we weren't scared of money, don't you think that we would all be rich? And even if it isn't physically rich, it would at least be mentally rich, looking at money as something that can help us instead of hinder us. The second book, which really helped me with learning about how to invest and realizing that money isn't this scary topic that we're taught to fear, is called Girls That Invest by Simran Kaur. I love this book so much. I actually only recently finished it about 2 weeks ago, and everything about this book just makes me so excited to learn about investing. Now, don't worry, you don't necessarily have to be a woman to read this book, but I will say that it's definitely beneficial for women to read, because it teaches us that all this time women have been taught not to be financially literate, to rely on a man, to be the housewife, and to not need to get a job because the man is paying the mortgage or the man is the breadwinner and is the one bringing in all this money. But I'm telling you now, to be a woman who is financially literate is a power. It is a power that we have thought all this time that we have not been allowed to have. And I promise you that you can have this power. You just have to be the one to bring it into your life. If no one else is going to bring it into your life, if your family, if your friends, if your school system is not going to bring it into your life, then the only person that can bring it into your life is you. And you have to be accountable and read these books, reach out to find the sources that are going to help you to become the person that you want to be. This book simplifies investing for women, breaking down financial concepts like stocks, ETFs, and long-term wealth building in an accessible way. It also challenges any limiting beliefs that you might have around money and investing. What I learned from this book is that financial freedom is achievable if you educate yourself and take the action. Section number 3 is all about inner peace and happiness. I will just say this now, that one of my top 3 favorite self-development books is The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. I don't know how else I can express how much I love this book to you than to tell you that from somebody who has learnt to live through life, through my anxiety and through my stress, this book changed the way that I look at the present, and to see it as a gift instead of something that is taking away time. You don't realize how much time you are missing out on by living through the past and stressing about the future. This book emphasizes the importance of living in the present moment and how that is going to lead you to true fulfillment and peace. This book will teach you how our thoughts and worries about the past and the future create suffering, which stops us from being able to enjoy our present moment. He offers mindfulness techniques that will help you to cultivate a sense of presence. This book taught me that true happiness is found by embracing the present moment. You will not find happiness from living in the past or living in the future. It could only be found in the now. So if you find that you're always stressing, you're always living with this go, go, go mindset, and you've never really been able to enjoy the now, this book will generally change that for you. Number 2 is called The Courage to Be Disliked by Ichiro Kishimi and Fumitake Koga. Now, I'm not sure if I got either of those names right, but again, I tried my best. This book is sourced by Adlerian psychology. It argues that happiness comes from embracing freedom, letting go of our past traumas, and focusing on how we interpret life events rather than the events themselves. It teaches you how you are free to live on your own terms and how to stop seeking external validation. Because honestly, I'll tell you this right now, there is going to be many moments in your life where you are disliked by other people and when you are brought down by other people. But if you want to learn how to be powerful despite this, then this is the book that is going to teach you how to overcome the courage to be disliked. What I really liked about this book is that it's sort of like a back and forth conversation between the psychologist and a student who has come to try and understand this way of thinking. And any limited belief that you might have, or any little urge to be like, no, that's not true, or I don't believe that, is exactly what the student says, which then the psychology will argue back on from. So it's almost like everything that you're going to think while you are reading this book actually has an answer. You will not come away from this book having any more questions because they will all be answered by the end of it. Now, section number 4 is my favorite, and it's all about self-empowerment and how you can become the strongest version of yourself. Now, the 7th book, and my favorite book, definitely at the top of this list, is Buy Yourself the Damn Flowers by Tam Kaur. Now, you have to have heard me talk about Tam Kaur on this channel at least 1,000 times. She is somebody that has generally changed my way of thinking. In fact, if you don't know who she is, search her up on YouTube and just start watching her YouTube videos. I can promise you this, she will generally change the way that you perceive yourself. But if you also want to read the book, I definitely recommend it. So let's go into what it's all about. This is a self-love and an empowering book aimed for women, but generally can be read by anyone. It encourages readers to take control of their happiness, heal from past experiences, and embrace their self-worth. Tam gives practical advice on confidence, boundaries, and personal growth. And what I learned from this book is that you are generally responsible for your own happiness. You have to invest in yourself unapologetically and understand that if you are not giving love to yourself first, how can someone else give love to you? I mean, it's in the title. You have to buy yourself the damn flowers, because if you do not buy them first, why do you expect someone else to buy them for you? You treat yourself the way that you want to be treated by others. If you are treating yourself in this really negative way, why do you expect other people to treat you in a positive way? If you're not treating yourself with respect, I'm sorry, you cannot expect yourself to be treated with respect. And that is what this book teaches you. It teaches you how to indulge yourself into self-love in a way that no other book is going to teach you. I also love about it is that after every single chapter, you are given a summary and a task that you can do to help you actualize what it is that you have learned in this chapter. Because it's all right to read these books, but if you're not actualizing it into your life, and if you're not changing the way that you live your life from reading these books, if you're not creating a list of all the things that you want to change in your life now that you've read these books, then it's not going to make any difference. It's like with the financial literacy books. If you are not learning about what it is that you want to do when it comes to investing, but you're just reading about investing, the investing is not going to happen. It's not just going to suddenly happen without you ever actually doing the first thing that you need to do. Yes, the first step is to learn about this information, but the second step is to actually do the action that you need to do to get to that point that you want to get to. And the last book is Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. Now, if you don't know about David Goggins, this book is going to be everything that you need to learn about him. I would say this is sort of like an autobiography, but really it's a self-help book at the same time. Now, I didn't really know anything about David Goggins. This was just a book that became very famous, and I thought, you know what, it looks like a good one. And I asked for it for Christmas, and it was generally one of the most powerful books that I have ever read that has showed me that you are so much stronger than what you think you are. Goggins shares his extremely empowering story of how he overcame extreme adversity through his mental toughness. This book emphasizes how to stay disciplined, how to be resilient, and how to push past self-imposed limits. This book taught me that it is so important to embrace discomfort if you want to reach your full potential. As I always say, nothing grows in your comfort zone. If you want to grow to become the best version of yourself, you are going to have to go through discomfort. You're going to have to go through this phase where you feel like everything is pushing against you, where you feel like the world is pushing against you, where you feel uncomfortable. If you do not go through that phase, how can you expect yourself to become the best version of yourself? Did you really think that healing was going to be easy? It's not. I can tell you firsthand that going on a self-love journey is probably going to be one of the most lonely journeys that you're ever going to go on. And I'm not saying that to scare you. I'm saying that to show you that if you do feel lonely at some point, that's something that is considered normal, but you have to go through this discomfort to get through to the other end. Because I'm telling you now, the grass is not greener on the other side. It's just that the other person is watering and loving their side of their grass, and you are not watering and loving your side of the grass because you're too focused on staring at their grass instead. You have to go through that discomfort, love yourself, put yourself into uncomfortable situations, push yourself out of your comfort zone. Otherwise, you are not going to grow, and you're not going to become this powerful person that you've always wanted to be. And that is everything for today's video. Before I end it, I thought I would just go over an overall message that I feel like all 8 of these self-development books have taught me, and that is that you are the only person that can take control of your life, your mindset, and your happiness. Each book in its own way is teaching me and will be teaching you that your thoughts, your actions, and your beliefs will shape your reality and the way that you see the world. Whether it's through mindfulness, self-love, financial empowerment, emotional independence, relationship awareness, mental toughness, being financially literate, or valuing different kinds of love, they all emphasize the same message, which is to be self-aware, always seek to grow as a person, and to make intentional choices to create the fulfilling life that you have always wanted to create. Because it is there. It is right in front of you. You can take that path, but you are instead choosing to take the easier path, the path that has comfort, to not go down the path that has discomfort. It's not going to be easy to get yourself to the point that you want to get to, like I have just said, but if you take the path of discomfort, you will reap the rewards. Whereas if you take the path of comfort, you are only going to reap the rewards that you have right now, which might be none. I hope that this video helped you. Generally, these books have changed the way that I see my life, and I'm reading more books every single day because yes, it's important to read books, but I'm always reading books. I'm always learning. I'm always seeking to get more information from new sources because that is something that makes me feel powerful. That's something that makes me feel strong. So today, if you decide that it's the time to start reading books, it doesn't matter whether you're 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, take it. If you enjoyed this video, then please give it a like and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. I post videos every Sunday at 12 p.m. and I also have a podcast, if you didn't know, called Being Grounded with Molly and Fleur, and a TikTok where I post shorter content like this, and an Instagram. So if you want to know all the links for that, then they will be in the description. Hope you enjoyed this video. That's all for today, and I will see you next week. Bye.